All right, so okay, let me crack this open. Ooh, gut healthy.
Ooh,
yeah.
Oh, that's a probiotic.
Yeah, big easy pop.
I have pomegranate juice, blueberry, pomegranate, blue.
All right, party people on the floor. Welcome to this week's episode of Jupiter Juice. We have been incognito because I have been injured and recovering. I had surgery, went well. I can't walk, but it's okay. But we're back, and we're just gonna have a little chit chat.
I'm eating a snack.
She eating, we comfortable. So how about y'all grab a snack, grab something to drink. We don't have no juice for the week. We're going to start that back next time when we really get into the nitty gritty of things. But because we're recovering, you know, we're on our girly pop right now. So
our girly pop.
Okay, we're having girl dinner.
Yeah, right.
Girl dinner, and we got our drinks, and we're going to have a good time. So we're going to chit chat, and we're going to talk about Zodiac, astrology, whatever, stereotypes. So yeah, come back.
Let's get into
it. Let's vibe. Alrighty.
So,
alright. So we back. So I was actually we were talking about like what wanted to talk about for this episode, and Lee posted an April Fool's Day post.
Cute, trying to have fun.
Very cute, very fun, about what type of pranks each sign would do. Just on some very light, not deep, fun-ish, right? This girl is gonna comment. She's a Capricorn. She's like, yeah, Capricorns are ruled by Saturn, but it doesn't mean we just work all the time. That doesn't mean like our life is about work and blase blase. I was like, whoa, duh. This is a April Fool's Day post. We're not getting into the nitty gritty of signs, but you know, even though I feel like her frustration and the way she was popping off was just completely unnecessary and unwarranted, she could have just scrolled. I guess she may have like a little bit of a point about being stereotyped. You know, I feel like people who aren't really well versed in astrology, you know, they just know the basic things, or they form their own opinions about the, you know, because they had an experience with a Gemini that was two-faced or whatever. They think all Geminis are two-faced, or they had experience from my experience, like male Virgos cheating you know, but they all cheat. You know, that could be.
I didn't date well, he was DL. The male Virgo that I dated was DL.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, like, you know, I get it. I understand, because I've been stereotyped because I'm a Gemini. People think, oh, she's two-faced, or, you know, they prejudge you. Or, like, when I tell somebody I have a Capricorn moon, oh, their life must be horrible. Like, what?
Yeah, I feel like with stereotypes, like anything, like, this is gonna sound controversial, but sometimes they be truth in the stereotype.
Yeah.
It's just best to go with your, like, you know, if you have critical thinking skills, we develop those in school. You should have developed those in school. Maybe lean on those when you're thinking about the stereotypes. But it's like, astrology in general is about archetypes, and archetypes and stereotypes, I feel like, are similar. And we kind of already touched on this in the debunking.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, what is the difference between an archetype and a stereotype, if you really think about it? Because stereotypes, I guess, have negative connotations.
There's the negative connotation about the, you know, the subject at hand, versus like the archetype is like the general theme of something. You know, like
psychological.
Yeah. So like where I guess Gemini's two-faced, or they're not consistent. They're not, whatever. Maybe the flip side of that is that they are, because they're an air sign, they can adapt more. They adapt to their environment instead of being fake. Because like with me, it's like code switching. I would say Gemini is like the code switcher. I mean, black people have to do that all the time. Depending on what. They don't have to, but that is something that in order to move up in the community or in society or whatever, they code switch. Like, they don't act like, yo, what's up? With their colleagues or whatever. Right. They're more so like, hi, welcome in, John. How the report? Do you need that? But then they go home like, girl, what's up? Nah, man, get the fuck out my face. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's how I would, I guess, like, I could give an example of maybe what that could be for a Gemini or whatever. But like, what are some funny stereotypes that you hear out there about like any sign or even Scorpios? Or
people never guess that I'm a Scorpio. They don't think I'm a Scorpio. Yeah. I feel like my Scorpio comes out in private.
Well, that makes sense. No, but right. people don't think I'm a Gemini either. But like, yeah. But
as far as like funny, like I don't know. I feel like Virgos are funny because they are like very particular. Y'all just are.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be like particular about like, oh, I clean and clean. It's just like you can tell when they don't like something.
Yeah.
But they're the fixers. Like that's kind of the archetype. And I was just thinking about this the other day. How Virgos.
Oh shit. Ooh. I'm sorry, excuse me.
Let it out.
Okay, go ahead. You gotta. What?
I was in the teeth.
No, not your teeth, girl, right here. Yeah, you got it.
I felt it.
Okay.
But yeah, Virgos, and just in general, I feel like I was thinking about the evolution of each sign and how it can kind of start one way. I guess it's a spectrum if you really think about it.
Yeah, for sure.
But like I was really thinking on Virgo, and I was just like, they're technically the virgin or like the healer, and they're like their sign or their symbol is sometimes like a woman, a maiden woman. Yeah, that's like innocent and pure and just like it's interesting that they are with that. They also have that, and then they also have another side of them that's like very like what's that, the other mother from Coraline?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like trying to control everything.
Yeah,
like that gives me Virgo vibes.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because it's supposed to be a nurturing sign, but then you can over nurture, right? So it's like it's all about how you embody the sign. And of course stereotypes are going to come up because the way that society is kind of like I don't want to say it forces us into boxes sometimes, but it's like just it kind of does. Like the way certain stuff plays out, and it's just like it's best to just be aware of it. You can still definitely be your authentic self at all times. Yeah, and I encourage that always. But a stereotype shit, if you fall into it, hey,
if you fall into it,
like
if you are two-faced and flighty as a Gemini, you two-faced and flighty, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
thank you for your service.
Like, going back to that girl's comment about like, Capricorn's not all work, but technically, like,
that is touch on that.
But like, that's the theme of you're ruled by Saturn. Yeah, it rules the 10th house. Yeah,
because when Capricorns ain't working, they and if you around an idle Capricorn, it's time to go.
It's time to go.
They gonna fuck your shit up. They are.
Like what?
It's gonna be real downhill from there.
Idle? I ain't never known no idol.
Yeah.
If I'm around the correct ones, you know what I'm saying?
Because it's like I have a lot of Capricorn energy in my chart.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And I feel like I love Capricorn energy. I like to work. And it's not even just about like you're right, whoever made that comment. It's not just about work. They're probably not going to watch this at all, but if you're agreeing with that sentiment, it's just like it's not just about work, but also it kind of is. Yeah. You're building. You're supposed to be building. Whether it's like you're working on your life, you're working on something.
You're working on something.
And it is what it is. Embrace that shit.
Yeah. It's not about, and when we say work, it's not just a job. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's progression. It's growing. It's building. It's literally building the building blocks of life. And your legacy and what you leave behind, what the seeds you plant and how it grows. Like, that's how I see that. And it shouldn't be a negative thing. I think because some people could be ashamed. Like, I know I've had apprehend when people ask me what my sign is, you know, but in the past I used to be scared to tell them I'm Gemini because I know I'm gonna get girl, what? But you're more than just your sun sign.
I love telling people I'm a Scorpio. I want them to fear me. Like the look of fear in their eyes.
Yeah, believe I'm fake, please. So I don't have to deal with your dumb behind, because that means you have no substance. Like, are you serious? Oh, you're a Gemini? Girl, we're grown. We are adults. Some of y'all are raising children and you still act like that. I see if a 16-year-old said that to me. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. But like, we're adults and there's layers, just like you're more than your sun sign. There's your moon, there's your rising, there's your Lilith, there's different aspects, there's everything. There's stuff that we don't, there's asteroids. There's like...
Another thing that people stereotype a lot, especially when you start getting more into the astrology community, is like aspects. Or like synastry placements, or it's like, if you and your man have if your moon is conjunct your man's Mars, you guys are gonna have great sex. Yeah, you guys are gonna like fuck all the time. And maybe that's true. I had somebody moon conjunct Mars. We fighting. Yeah, exactly. Or moon square Mars. I didn't like it, but it's based on what you like. Like, and I have 12th house synastry always with my lovers. Yeah. Always. And I just had to deal with that. I'm like, okay, you know what? I must like this shit. Yeah. Or it must be necessary for me.
And
right
like now. That, because it could just be like an intense thing, but that intensity could show up in, you know, like you're explaining, in different forms. You know, like it could show up in the bedroom. It could show up in like, you know, like your, just regular interactions, like just communicating. It could show up, because also it depends on what house is in. And that's something else that I realized. Like, I got this report, like, you know, this astrology report, and it was pretty good actually. But like, one thing that I noticed about it is that it just focused on the aspect of the planets, but it didn't talk about the sign of that planet or the house that that planet was in. It just talked about moon conjunct Jupiter, or you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't, because these are auto-generated reports. So to know more about yourself and to know more about your partner, I would suggest going to an astrologer so that they can sit down and study your chart instead of going, because a lot of times, because I experienced this past week, because Uranus is moving into our 7th house. Yeah. Uranus is moving into our 7th house, but also Pluto just moved into his 7th house. My fiance. That freaked me out. I lost my mind. I cried. Aww. I went into psychosis. Like, I literally called my therapist.
No, that's real. I've done that over some aspects. Yeah. I've done that over some aspects for sure. For sure.
And I'm going on, girl, I bought ChatGPT. I paid the $19.99.
You ain't gonna tell me and my man finna. You ain't gonna tell me that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, like, hell yeah.
No. Yeah. And then I went on Reddit and I was like, you know, like, Pluto's going to your partner's 7th house, you know, whatever. And then people were like, just because Pluto went into their 7th house, it isn't, like, me and my partner, yeah, you know, things transform, but like, mine is more quick. So like, his is like over the course of like, what, 14 years. Yeah. Mine, Uranus, is like sudden. And then I think I saw, it's like, oh, we got married, or like my husband, he had to take a job or whatever, and so like we ended up moving. So like, I don't know.
I find with the outer planets, you really don't know until you know.
Yeah. Just like, because Uranus is, you know, just got up, you know, left my 6th house, or it's still there a little bit. It's probably going to be there for like a couple more years.
She was fucking with my moon.
Yeah. And like, I had this injury. That was sudden. But I can't really think of like anything else that kind of just happened as far as like my day-to-day routine.
Could have been what, 7 years?
Yeah, 7 years.
7 years, so.
So I don't know, like, other than like, I mean, I left the music group, but that was planned on my end, at least. Like, that wasn't something that was like a sudden change for me. It was a sudden change for somebody else.
Yeah, it's like your daily routine.
Yeah, so it's like...
Or it could be like a more internal thing, like how you view your daily.
Yeah. Yeah, and that as well. So, like, I do have a question, though, because this is not my psychosis. But when you see that, what do you think? Like, on some real-ish. Like, Uranus transiting 7th house in Gemini.
So... like I was saying, with outer planets, my interpretation of them, and this is just me because I'm not like a professional astrologer, I just love this shit.
Yeah.
You don't know what's gonna happen until you know.
Yeah.
And until you're in it and you're like, oh, this is what that meant.
Yeah.
Because I had Uranus on top of my fucking moon, and I remember that's when I first started getting into astrology, and I was with a guy at the time, and I was like, it said something about relationships, and I just remember thinking, like, kind of freaking out like that and being like, oh my god. And really it was my job too. I was like, I don't want to lose my job, I don't want to lose the relationship I was in. Both of those things were not serving me. Like, my job, I didn't want to be in my job anymore.
Yeah.
My boyfriend, no shade to you, you were DL.
Yeah.
Hey, and so was I. So it's like, it was things that kind of needed to be shaken up. And it kind of like with Uranus, I feel like I had more control over that a little bit. Because it's like I kind of seen it coming. With Pluto, I feel like a lot of times it's like, excuse me. It's like an internal thing that happens rather than outside.
Yeah.
It's like an internal shift. And Uranus is definitely, I always see it as an outside shift, but it's also like some stuff is shaken up and after you're done, you're like, okay, I guess that was fine.
Yeah, I guess.
So with your situation, with Uranus going into your 7th house and then Pluto going into his, y'all could be shaking up some old beliefs too.
Girl,
and like clearing those out.
I know I feel like that's what's happening. I feel like
you probably would already feel it, especially with planets that are move so slow, you feel them coming.
Yeah.
So it's like you have time to prepare. So whatever you're thinking about now, outside of that fear of like, loss, because we all have a fear of loss.
Yeah.
Whatever you're thinking about and kind of has been like on repeat in your mind, that's likely what's gonna come up.
Okay.
They move so slow, you see them coming. Like that's law.
Yeah. That's scary. I'm scared.
That's real.
But like, also because I hate loss and I've dealt with so much loss, and like I don't want. You're fearing it.
I need to talk into the mic.
And like,
I'm looking away from it. Sorry.
Because it could be like, but also it's not just him. It's like partnerships. It's not, and that's another thing. Like your 7th house is just not like the person you're with. Like it's like
we have a 7th house relationship.
Yeah, we have a 7th house relationship. So it's like our charts are really like literally on top of each other. So it could happen between. You never know. Like, but also with Uranus, another thing is like, it's not like good or bad. It's like, it could be either or. It just depends on how you allow it to show up, because like you actually do have control over. You do have control over that, like how it shows up for you,
especially because they move so slow.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like I need to become more trusting. That's something that's been coming up in my therapy sessions. Lately, I don't really trust, and like that's the reason why I made that post about love. And because that was the same day I had my break, my little psychotic break.
Oh gosh.
Because like
I was wondering too. I was like, this is from the heart.
Yeah.
Here. I said, okay.
I broke down so bad, and like, girl, ChatGPT was telling me to calm down. It's like, okay, take a breath. ChatGPT, chat, take a breath. So yeah, I was losing it because I'm just like, no, I don't want to lose. I want to grow. I don't want to lose anything. But it's like,
that's real.
That I need to change that way of thinking. Growth doesn't necessarily mean loss. Like I can grow into connections and grow into trusting people.
Right. And sometimes things fall away, and that's a part of. That's literally you're never gonna escape that.
Some things fall away, and it got to a point I was like, you know what, I'm gonna live in the moment, because You know, I am building strong relationships with my friends. Like, I tell my friends I love you now. I didn't do that before. Like, I didn't check in on people. I didn't, and then in relationships, I think this is the first relationship that I've had where it's like, I feel loved back.
Aww.
And I think that's another thing that's kind of like,
you don't want that to end.
You know, like,
that makes sense. You want to protect it.
Yeah, I want to protect that because it's like, you know, and because I've been with him for 7 years. So, like, we started dating.
And y'all are going through your Saturn. Oh, y'all are going through your Saturn square or something. Every 7 years, something with Saturn happens in relationships.
Yeah, my Saturn's in his 7th house.
The person I'm dating now, my Saturn's in their 7th.
Yeah. And I feel like he's learning a lot from me. I feel like it comes from, like, you know, I think when Saturn is in someone's house, like, that partner is, like, supposed to help you learn hard lessons, I feel. Or, like, help you grow as an individual. And his North Node is in his 7th house as well. And I don't know. And he shows up in my 10th house. Like, a lot of his planets show up in my 10th house. I don't know. I feel like that connection, especially when it comes to our careers, when we have a lot in common, I feel like we're supposed to be in each other's lives in some form of fashion. I even saw somewhere, it's this website that was recommended on Reddit. I'll send it to you because you may like it. But I forgot which aspect, but it was saying, like, this is like a power couple aspect. But of course it depends on how we go about that. And I feel like we've both been struggling to trust the process of life in general, because he struggled with trusting people in general as well, and trusting himself. Yeah. And we're dealing with the same, like, internal issues. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've learned the most from this relationship.
Yeah, I
for sure.
That.
Yeah,
I love that.
You know,
love you guys.
It's hot in here.
It is hot.
But anyway,
yeah, I'm also going through something very similar, which, you know,
yeah,
it's just like with friends, I feel okay. Like, I finally feel like I'm okay. Like, I feel like, okay, I have some solid relationships. They could be deeper, but I'm not, like, stressing to be like, hey,
yeah,
they're fine. Same with family. I'm kind of not freaking out about those things, but, like, my romantic relationships and my relationship to myself, I'm swinging on this axis of trusting and not trusting, and it's like I'm trying to balance the black and the white. Yeah. And, like, as the shadow stuff comes up, I'm just like, what do I do with this? Like, it's just like, I don't need it anymore, you know? Yeah. It's telling me stuff about myself, but it's like, I don't really need it, so I don't know where to put it. And it's like, when it comes to trusting people, my biggest lesson that I have learned is, like, humans are gonna human, and including me. So it's like, we're gonna hurt each other. Yeah. We're gonna kind of have misunderstandings. We're gonna have disagreements. It's just gonna happen. And I feel like for a long time I was viewing relationships like, well, if people are like, oh, we don't argue, we've never argued, or, oh, we have a perfect you know, it's like, you kind of start comparing yourself to that. Yeah. And it's like, damn, do I always just attract people that I'm gonna fight with? Or same thing. It's just like, oh yeah,
girl, I freak out because I freak out when I guess set a boundary, or, like, say I tell my partner or someone
your needs.
My needs.
Me too. I have a hard time with that. I struggle.
It's the craziest thing.
I'll start laughing like it's no big deal, but, like, you know, like, and they're like, what? To the point where, like, what are you even asking?
Yeah, like, what is going on? Like, losing my, just thinking, like, man, I'm too much. Yeah. I've been told that before. You know, being told that before is just like, damn, like, it really, you know, I took to heart. And so, like, I asked him for help with something, and I cried before I called him to ask for help with something. He was like, yeah, babe.
And it's never that, like,
never that deep.
It's always like they'll answer and be like, oh, okay, yeah, haha, what's up?
And then like, he could tell, like, he knows my mental stuff. So, like, he called back and checked in on me. He's like, you okay?
Aww.
You all right? Okay.
Aww.
All right. Have a good night. Okay. So it's just like, I'm losing my mind for no reason.
It'd be like that. That's that old shit coming up. And it's like reminding you that it's there. And it's like, I'm at the point where I'm bored of that. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm tired of these patterns.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah. Man, we go through the same... We're going through the same thing.
Yeah.
We should talk more about that. Maybe help each other. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what to do. Like, I told my therapist today, she's like, well, you know the root of it? I said, yeah, I know the root. I know, yeah, of course. I know the root. Like, I don't care about that. Like, I'm over it.
Yeah, I don't care about the root. No,
I done looked at the root, replanted that shit, repotted it in 3 different ways. Like, okay, it's cool, it's chilling.
You know what? That's right. But, like, you know, I went back to the root of my issues with my therapist, and I uncovered more, and I think that helped me heal a little, you know, started my healing journey again. And just also this new therapist, she made me have compassion for like my mom.
I was just talking about compassion in therapy today.
Yeah. Compassion and like having compassion for yourself, but also like my mom's a Virgo, so she's nurturing, but not in the she's a nurturing Virgo, and that can mean a lot of things. But it's just having compassion for her and her upbringing and what she didn't have either, and that's kind of led her to how she parented and like certain things she did not learn as far as like, because she wasn't nurtured by my grandmother. My grandma was like, hey, okay, bye, I'm gonna leave you with my parents. So you know what I'm saying? It's just like she tries to show up in that way, but she doesn't know how. And I've always known that, you know, but it's just that struggle with acceptance. It's like, and it's not just her, it's like my whole family dynamic. It's like wanting to be the best because they encourage you to be the best, and I'm like, I'm not my best right now. And we've always like my family was like, I'm strong, I don't need help, and they died struggling. And that's something I don't want to be. I don't want to be that person that's afraid to ask for help. I don't want to be afraid to ask for help, even though it's just like it's been ripping me, and I feel like that's my Uranus right now. Because
that's real.
Like,
that's real. I wonder what it's gonna do for me.
Yeah,
because what you said I definitely resonated with, and it actually made me think of how people like are kind of like, you got to be independent and you got to be this and you got to like, and you're just isolating yourself and other people, because now you're in this mindset where it's like you don't owe anyone anything, or you're just like, oh, listen, it's not my job to handle their feelings, it's not my job. And I've been caught up in that too, and it's like, it's really just you're burnt out and you don't have empathy or space for people, but it's like you kind of gotta be inconvenienced sometimes. So it's like, because it's like, why I'm scared to ask for needs because I don't want to inconvenience people. But then when people ask me for the stuff they need, I'm on it, because I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, if I love them, being inconvenienced, it is what it is. It's just a short discomfort for a long-term satisfaction. So it's like, why wouldn't somebody want to show up like that for me? And it kind of just shows you, like, it kind of reminds you and builds that trust, like when you do ask them and they're like, oh yeah, that's fine. Just like being like, okay, I can trust them. This is trust. I feel trusting of you because you're acting on my needs. So it's like a dance. And I'm sorry your family was ingrained that in you, but
they weren't bad. But I had a decent upbringing. You know, I had a great upbringing, but on the like being cared for. But as far as like the nurturing aspect, you know, we had to self-nurture. A lot of us, like the people that raised me had to self-nurture. Either because they had a large family.
It's Capricorn vibes.
Yeah, very Capricorn. Like my immediate family, we all have very strong Capricorn placements. And my dad, it was a Capricorn. So
that makes sense, because it's like, I have Capricorn, Venus, Mars, all the nurturing shit. Capricorn or Saturn is right there for me. Saturn is right on my IC family line. Or family, my Venus is in Capricorn, blah blah blah. Anyway, so it's like I can kind of relate to what you're saying, and it kind of reminds me of when they said Saturn, like the story of Saturn is like he bit his own son's head off. I don't know why,
Wow.
I don't know if because he was manic.
That's the Greek.
Okay. I gotta look up the story again. My memory is not the best, but it's like, y'all ever seen that picture? Saturn just eating his son's head. And it kind of like, and the sun and Saturn have this relationship that's really tense because the sun birthed Saturn.
Yeah.
So it's like they have this relationship where they're just very tense with each other. And it kind of like propels you to grow, but it also like, that's why you need like the moon and water, because it kind of adds that nurturing element into it, because it's not nurturing. It is... It nurtures your character.
Yeah, it nurtures your character.
And like your sense of like self, but it's a very thin line because it can eat into your sense of self too.
Yeah, that critical. I think that's probably why I'm so critical, especially having like a Capricorn moon. I'm very, and it's in my, like, depending on what chart you're looking at, it's like either in my first house or my second house. But internally, like it is a thin line with being like a self-critic or just like, I know that's like a theme of my life because of my my North Node is in Capricorn in my second house, and I know that's like a theme. Online it says like a material thing, but also it's like that comes about with being, centered with self and being confident in self, and that is like my biggest theme, and that's the thing that I struggle with the most is being confident and just believing that I can accomplish my goals and really make a life for myself and trust myself.
Yeah, Saturn puts that pressure on ya.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. But it's kind of like up to you what you do with the pressure. Yeah. And that shit is hard. So
it's very hard.
It's not easy. So whoever made that comment, I know your life. No. Well, hasn't been the easiest.
Yeah, it has.
We can relate.
We can relate.
Sorry, it's not all about work. Like, you're right.
It's not all about work. It's just, but it is determination. It's building blocks. It's growth, steady growth, and you have to be patient. So you have to do the work.
You can't cut corners. And like, I knew someone who like, I love Saturn. If they watch this, they'll know I'm talking about them. I don't care. But I can tell because there's a saying that's like, oh, Saturn always rewards you. Saturn always rewards you. And that's like a common saying. And it's like, not really. No. I'm not going to lie. It doesn't. No. The reward is kind of what you make it. So it's like, I can tell they were trying to like say, oh, I love Saturn, me and Saturn. But it's like, I'm looking at your life. No, you don't. Because you don't act in Saturn's principles. Like, you don't even move the way Saturn would move. You're trying to cut corners. You're trying to like rush things. You're getting mad. You're not being patient. How do you love Saturn, but you're not embodying any of those traits? You just want that reward. Saturn don't play that.
Yeah, don't play that.
He gonna make you go through that mud. So it's like, and sometimes it's gonna be for no reason. Yeah. It's literally gonna be for no reason.
It's gonna be for no, and
like, oh, gotcha.
Yeah, oops.
Sorry.
But there is a reason and then no reason, I guess.
It is, true.
It's like,
but it's not like a quick, like,
it's not like
people think like, oh, I do this hard thing, I'm getting rewarded.
Yeah, no.
You're not gonna get rewarded every time you do something hard.
Do something. I mean, how are you gonna actually truly appreciate when you actually do achieve the goal that you achieve? I mean, that's why failure should be appreciated. Failure is a part of the journey because failure is the building block. That's how you build a steady foundation, because when you fail, you can try again and become stronger. Saturn is a great planet, but you have to be accepting of it, and you have to just be appreciative of all the planets, and all the transits and the growth, and and just kind of just live life. And I had to put astrology down for a minute, for a few days, to break away and like actually just be, and not think about the transits, actually just be engulfed in life and just live. Because like we say, astrology is the map, it's the a great tool, but it's a tool. Yeah. It's not life.
Yeah, everything you need is here. Yeah. Like, even when I read tarot for people, sometimes you don't need the cards. Like, somebody will sit down and you'll be like, this story will start running, and you're like, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, I don't even need these cards.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, here you go.
Yeah.
And that wrapped up, but people want to hear the story. And
Yeah.
But, yeah. You gotta set it down. A word.
Yeah. Well, I like this.
Yeah.
It was a great little episode. It was great. I like just talking. That was nice. Yeah. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, let us know. This is a little bit different for us, but we both needed a break from like just learning is something.
Yeah.
So, but we hope you enjoyed. So we will be back with our regularly scheduled program since I'm back in action just a little bit, and we will be posting more, just various types of content. You'll see us together and individually, and it'll be great. And I'm excited to see the future of Jupiter Juice and how we evolve. And I hope you guys stay coming along with us and, talk to your friends about us and other people. But anyway.
Thanks, guys. Support Black astrologers. Support Black spiritualists. Support Black occultists.
Okay.
Always, always, always. And thank you for tuning in. We love you, and we'll see you next time.
Yes. Thank you for watching Jupiter Juice. Bye.